Hello, my name is Marcus Cruz. This is Terrain4Print. Today I'm going to show you how to paint my Gothic ruins like this in a very quick and easy fashion. So let's head down to the painting station and get started. This is the far end of my garden, and here I have my painting supplies with me. We're going to use 3 different rattle cans. One dark, slightly brown gray, slightly lighter, still quite dark, and one black. And this is the terrain piece we are going to paint. It's fresh from the printer. First, we're going to start with the darkest brown and get a full coverage on the whole piece, or yeah, almost full coverage. It's almost empty. So the first coat is reasonably dry. Doesn't have to be complete. So now we're going to switch to the black spray, as you can see here, especially from the underside. We lack a bit of paint. We're going to fix that now. So the idea is that we're using the black spray, and we're going to paint from underside, like opposite of zenithal highlighting. So this will give a sort of fake shade or something. If I see a part where I've missed some, I can fill that in with the black slightly, not to try to cover everything with black, but give it a darker tone. I suppose I could let this dry, but I found that it doesn't matter much. So I'm going to spray this from the top, like this. Dust it on. So this will give a sort of highlight, and very hard to see out here in the daylight. Try not to get sort of a natural shade to it, with the darker coming from below and the brighter on top. Right. Now I must let this dry, because now it's time to take it indoors. Now we are at my painting station. Sorry for the funny angle, filming on the mobile. Here we have the ruin. I don't know how well you can see it in the video, that it has sort of a pre-shade, and that is actually most of the shading that will be done here. What I'm going to do now is give it sort of a warm grey dry brush. For this I have this very cheap makeup brush, very soft tip. I'm going to use mix of neutral gray, quite light, and sort of a skin tone. So I'm just going to plop a small dollop of it in my mixing cup. Roughly equal parts, like that. And I just mix it. It doesn't have to be perfectly mixed. In fact, less than perfect mix will give it slight variation that is nice. So I'm aiming for ancient, bombed out ruin. They've been once proud administratum buildings, but since then bombed out, and since thousands of years covered by dust and debris. I've cleared away almost all of the paint. See, I painted on this area, and if I do like this, there is a little bit of paint left, but not much, and so it's always good to start very gentle. So I'm going to just slightly drag it, and yeah, this is the area that won't be seen that much, so I can start here. Any mistakes are, it's actually quite heavy dry brush now. But I will continue in circular motion. If you immediately can see paint on edges, you probably have too much paint on your brush. So you should build up the effect slowly. Yeah, this is still quite a lot of paint on the brush, but I'm going for a quick and easy effect here, so it's okay. I think that's most of the insides done for now. I'm being quite violent with the brush at this stage. It's quite dry now, and it's building up the detail here on the outside much slower, and it's much more subtle. I will dip my brush into new paint, very little. See the statue here? I will now give it a generous dry brush. So this is quite heavy. So when having added new paint to the brush, drawn it off on the cardboard, still a bit uncertain how much is left in the brush, so the first few strokes be much gentler and not so violent. When you know how much paint you have in your brush and it's relatively dry, you can be quite violent with it. I don't know how much you can see of that. So, still, I call this done for now. It's time for the last stretch, and for this I have two quite cheap and quite crappy metallic paints, one bright copper and one bright gold. So I'm going to mix them 50-50 to get some kind of bronze look in my mixing cup. And since there's not that much pigment in this, I will have to dip my brush much more into this, so we will actually use quite a lot of paint. Something like that. For this I will use a much stiffer brush to get more fine-grained detail or control over the application. So I'm sure you have seen brushes like this before, and yeah, I used it yesterday and cleaned it thoroughly, but it's really dry now, so it can't have any moisture in it. So I just mix around the paint. Little variation can't hurt. So again, this I want to have a really heavy dry brush. So I will focus on all the bands with rivets, the window arches, and all the little pieces with machine details, and I want it to be really heavy. So just oops, that's almost a bit much, but no worries. Something like that. It might seem a bit much, but when we get the whole pattern together, you will see that it works quite nicely. I will get some in the wrong places. I try not to care too much about that, since yeah, this is not detail work. This is if you want to put out a whole table worth of terrain in one evening. See, it's starting to come together. I think even though it's quite sloppy, it's the end effect when you see a lot of these on the table is quite good. You can of course vary the color of the metal if you want. I don't care at this stage. I just slather everything with this mixture of bronze or something. I think that's for most of the inside. Some more detail here. Yep. Time to tackle the outside, and don't forget all these little machine parts. I think we're done. So thank you for watching this painting tutorial. I'm a terrain designer, but not an expert painter. So yeah, bear with me. Thanks for watching. Bye.